You ever hear a story so eerie, so quietly terrifying, that it feels like maybe an opening scene to a horror film? Let me set the stage. 1953. It's fall, small town America. The kind of town where everyone knows everyone. Where Friday night lights and Friday nights are just filled with football games, jukeboxes, and where kids, they still walk home from school without any fear. In the town of La Crosse, Wisconsin, a 15-year-old honors student named Evelyn Hartley shows up to babysit at a home she's never been to before. The child is asleep. The house is silent. And then she vanishes. No scream, no witnesses, just a scattered pair of glasses, some smudged bloodstains, a ladder outside a window in a town that would never be the same. And this is the Yore Town Podcast. We're going to dive deep into the Vanishing Babysitter, a true crime mystery that's haunted La Crosse for over 70 years. You heard this one before?
I have not.
Me neither. I was looking for small towns and Googling, and I randomly came around to this one. Pretty sure it's La Crosse. That's what we're going to go with.
Okay.
You know, I'm not great at pronunciation. I should do better, but...
that should be your disclaimer.
Hit us with a disclaimer.
Some names and towns may not be pronounced correctly.
I like it.
Apologies in advance.
Yes, that's pretty good. And your listener discretion is advised. What's the first theme song that pops in your head right after that? You know what it is for me? Bad boys, what you gonna do?
That's good.
That's pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the one. And of course, we don't make light of the cases. Obviously, these are serious cases. Some still ongoing, so if you ever hear of anything. But we put our twist on things. We do try to, put our twist on the Yore Town Podcast. This is like our date day, our date night. We get 15 to 30 minutes. No interruptions. No kids screaming. No kids fighting. No kids, I'm hungry. No dogs barking. We're in the studio.
At least that's what we like to think.
Maybe they're fighting.
Maybe.
I don't hear a dog barking.
Not yet.
But either way, it's been a week, right?
Sure has.
This week is going to be a busy one. A lot of firsts, a lot of stuff. It's going to be good, though, right?
Yeah.
Youngest gets her first basketball game.
So pumped.
Just happens that all three of the kids happen to have a sporting game at the same day and a team I coach. So we have to be in 4
different
places.
Locations.
Yes. Much different
locations.
At
the same time.
Same time. So somehow we're going to be in 4 places at once. Divide and conquer. Times 2.
We got this.
Yeah, we do. It's a good thing we have some fixed vodka, huh, Meg? To help us potentially de-stress. Yeah. But either way, what do you think? Should we jump right into this? So you've never heard of it? I haven't heard of it. And again, this isn't just a missing persons case. It's that kind of disappearance that rewrites an entire community sense of safety. And I feel like a lot of the stories that we do, I was going to say do, a lot of the stories that we do cover are that small town mentality. Everything's good. Everybody's safe. We're not going to lock our windows. We're not going to lock our doors. Everybody knows everybody in town. And that's a lot of, similar vibes to where you grew up or grew up back in the day in the town that we live in now. Kind of that way back in the day, I would imagine. But now it's a much different time.
Very much so.
I mean, we're in a pretty rural space and we have probably just as many cameras outdoors, indoors as a jail. I mean, we are covered, and it's a sad world sometimes that we do live in. Unfortunately, what happened to Evelyn Hartley might still be out there, though. So again, if anybody knows anything, and hopefully there's still a family fighting, but every time, you throw something out there, you throw it into the algorithm. You never know if somebody can help bring justice.
Right.
All right, let's throw it back, Meg. If you're ready to go, want to go all the way back to 1953?
Yeah,
much simpler times, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the music sounded like in 1953?
Like a checkered...
Okay, so we're picturing this. October 24th, a week before Halloween. It's just another fall Saturday night in the Crosse. Is that how you'd say it? C-R-O-S-S-E? LaCroix? Lacrosse? Lacrosse? Lacrosse?
Yeah, lacrosse.
And a lot of the stuff in Wisconsin, other than the intense drinking, because I'm pretty sure Wisconsin is one of the most drunk states maybe even one of the most drunk places in the entire world. But I feel like we're on the same latitude where we kind of get the similar weather. Fall's around the same, temperatures around the same. So I can really, really picture this small town, almost Halloween vibes. Not the 50s so much, but I think the picture has been painted. You?
Yeah.
All right, so we got the picture painted. There's a 15-year-old girl named Evelyn Hartley. She's a sophomore at the Central High School. She wasn't supposed to be babysitting that evening, Meg. She originally had planned to attend the homecoming game with her friends, but another girl couldn't make her usual babysitting gig, so Evelyn filled in. She was responsible. Always responsible. And there to help, right? In the house, it belonged to Professor Viggo Rasmussen and his wife, who needed someone to watch their 20-month-old daughter while they actually attended the game. Hey, small town football, big deal around here. Small town football in the fees, even bigger deal in a small town. It's funny because people in the cities are probably like, really? You're just going to go watch the football game? That's a big deal? Well, yeah. Whether it's a family member, a family's friend, they all feel like community, right? I mean, we don't have football in our schools.
Close by, though.
Close by there is, but I mean, it's not something we go because I don't feel like, it's not my school. It's not my...
super connected to it.
But... Yeah, other sports for sure, but football. And if anybody happens to be listening to this in other countries like Europe, we mean American football, not what we call soccer.
Correct.
I had a question in the community the other day on the YouTube, and they were like, "This isn't football. Football's football." I was like, "Oh, listen, I'm American. Easy." Evelyn's parents, they expected her to be home by 8:30 p.m. At first, her father, Richard, didn't think much of it when Evelyn didn't call or answer the phone. But that clock at 9, Meg, and that feeling just started to grow uneasy,
Mm-hmm.
So he actually drove to the Rasmussen home. And this is something that nobody should see, let alone a father, because just seeing the scene froze him in his tracks. The house, completely locked. There was no sounds. There was no lights flickering. It was just stillness. He knocked. No answer. He yelled. And nothing. He actually used a spare key and let himself right in. But as soon as he went in that house, it just looked, I don't know, off. The furniture was just slightly out of place. The radio was actually still playing in the living room. Her books were lying on a chair, but she was just nowhere to be found, Meg. And then he saw the broken glasses on the living room floor. And then there was a couple of spots of blood. The back door was still locked, but the basement window was wide open. So outside, he goes. And what he finds, Meg? He found a ladder that was leaning against the window. And the screen was cut. Not kicked, not removed, cut. And Evelyn, his only daughter, is gone. Isn't that just gut-wrenching? Father, his gut feels off, goes to check it, and he's the first one and sees it. Obviously, what do you do next?
Call the police.
Call the police. They were called immediately. And within hours, the investigation begins. Hours. Granted, it's the 50s, Meg. You know what I mean? They get to the call. They get there, and what I'm assuming is a not-so-quick vehicle. The technologies, they have phones. But, I mean, you can only call and hit the radios, and they get to the scene. But the investigation really doesn't ramp up for a few hours. And what they found was very disturbing, because there wasn't just blood in one place. It was on the living room floor. It was on the basement windowsill. There were smudges on the walls. Outside the house, on the grass, there was even blood on a neighbor's garage door and on the sidewalk. What are you thinking? Any initial thoughts?
You would think if she had tried to get away and was yelling, somebody would have heard, but there was no reports of that, it sounds like.
Not yet.
But why on the neighbor's house?
It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Investigators, they estimated, and of course this is the 50s, that Evelyn was either injured or bleeding as she was dragged, or possibly carried out of the house. There was one little bit of blood stain on the garage wall. And guess what was in that blood, or what was made of blood? A partial handprint. Also found a footprint. Size 11, appeared to be male, but it didn't match any shoes that were found in the house. So they got a male, size 11, right? Easy to find, I'm sure. And the ladder, you know what they did? They realized something, Meg. that had been moved from the garage and leaned up against the window by the intruder. Even stranger, the baby upstairs, completely unharmed, still sleeping away.
Okay.
Some better news, right?
Okay.
Were you worried both?
I was.
Yeah. So, here's what it looked like. Someone had broken in through the basement window, cut the screen from the outside, entered while Evelyn was babysitting. There was a little bit of a struggle. She's overpowered, possibly knocked unconscious, maybe dragged through the same window. Male, size 11. It appeared to be quick. It appeared to be clean. It appeared to be calculated. And it had all the signs of premeditation, right? And a lot of the cases we do leave out a lot of gross details of things that happens to these girls, between assaults and some other nasty things. This case, there was no valuables that were stolen in the house, so it wasn't a robbery potentially gone wrong, and there was no nasty assaults or anything that they were able to confirm, I guess, so on that front. It was a targeted removal and a vanish. Weird, right?
It's weird.
Very weird. So sunrise hits in a small town, but it's not the same town that it was the day before. But the newspapers, Meg, got to imagine, especially in the 50s, the headlines, they went crazy. The papers were the thing to read. Do you remember a time in your life where it was like, I do too, sports games, reading the newspaper articles?
I still have someone in my family that does that.
Pretty cool, right? Yes, you do.
It's my father.
And the newspapers, obviously, they hit with massive headlines, something along the lines of teenage babysitter disappears in mysterious circumstances. The radio stations urged citizens to join in and help with the search to see if they could. And guess what, Meg? They helped by the thousands over the next 72 hours. Yeah, awesome. And that's that small town mentality. Coming in, trying to help. In the next 72 hours, nearly 2,000 people from the region joined the police officers, the firefighters, the National Guard in a desperate search for Evelyn. They brought in the bloodhounds. They caught a scent trail that actually led through the backyard, but as soon as it got near the road, the dog seemed to lose it for some reason. They had planes that were flying over the woods, which they didn't really have, you know what I mean? Back then, they didn't have the heat sensors and the drones, but they're looking, and they checked the rivers, wells were checked, barns were checked, junkyards, fields, ravines. One volunteer even swore they saw a girl tied up in the back of a car, heading out of town, but they then couldn't find the car that was described. Police, they canvassed the entire region. Every man between the ages of 16 and 65 were asked to take a lie detector test. Some refused, but most of them did comply. They tested over 300 people. No matches, no arrests, simply dead ends. 300 people they brought in to put on lie detector, which lie detector tests at the time, they were the move, right?
Or better than nothing.
They're better than nothing. And to be able to find nothing, imagine though if that person sat in that chair and was just able to beat the test.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking at this time? There's not a lot of my gut's not like I'm thinking just not random, but it was somebody got in, somebody got out, somebody knew that place, right? It almost makes you wonder
to know where to find
a ladder.
I mean, a ladder is probably not uncommon in a garage.
True.
But to get it unnoticed.
No, to go through the garage, which I mean, I guess if most of the houses, I'm assuming, were fairly, I don't know, interesting, right? Weeks.
How old is she?
15.
She's probably not really working yet.
Just babysitting. It's just strange that the one all of a sudden backs out. The parents still want to go to the game. She can't go to the game.
Do we know anything about the other girl? Maybe it was meant to be her.
Maybe. That's what your gut's thinking?
Yeah. Because it does sound like it was pretty premeditated.
Yeah.
But if it was a last minute change.
And said person didn't know, just said this is the night. Well, weeks, Meg, they pass. Then months. And the trail is completely cold. And Evelyn, she became a ghost story that was whispered through generations of residents of La Crosse. And as with any high-profile case, tips poured in, dozens of them. Many were false. Some, they were kind of disturbing, and a few, they still raise eyebrows to this day. Let's start with Melvin Karpinski. In 1978, he was a convicted sex offender and told a prison psychologist that he actually helped Ed Gein, yep, that Ed Gein, kidnap and murder Evelyn. And according to Karpinski, Evelyn had been targeted, killed, and buried somewhere in Plainfield, Wisconsin. But Gein was already dead, and there was no evidence to link him to La Crosse, and police considered the confession unreliable. What do you think? I feel like that's just a murderer trying to...
Yeah.
Right?
That doesn't sound like it adds up.
No. But, I mean, Ed was the butcher of Plainfield, which is where he said the body was. Maybe?
I'm not buying it.
I'm not either. But then there was a mysterious journal that was found actually decades later in the 2000s. A man that was cleaning out his late father's belongings stumbled on a notebook containing a pretty deeply disturbing passage. You know what it said, Meg? We grabbed the babysitter, put her in the car. She wouldn't stop bleeding. Buried her in the old septic tank. That man, Clyde Tywee Peterson, was long dead. Police dug up the property. They didn't find anything. Doesn't mean necessarily that property, but that's an interesting one. If it wasn't Evelyn, who was the babysitter? Who was dead? Right? Who was in an old septic tank?
Yeah, right.
But then there's a chilling connection to another suspect, Ralph Vogt, a local man with a history of voyeurism and stalking women. He failed the polygraph test, but he was never charged, right? There was a lot of talk of old Ralph. But then this case began to feel cursed. Every single promising lead was followed by another dead end. And the longer Evelyn was missing, the more the theories, the rumors began to swirl. Andy, Meg, 0. Years later, we're still asking the same questions. What really happened to Evelyn Hartley? I mean, there's a couple of theories that are out there. Want to walk through a couple?
Okay.
Theory 1. Do you have any theories before we bust into the
surprised.
The top 4 theories that I have?
I'm surprised no one tried to blame Dad.
Yep. Dad always gets blamed.
Yeah. Knew where the spare key was, which, I mean,
probably under the mat, right? Or maybe they said, hey, in case of emergency, there is a spare key. Come in here, come to the Rasmussens, whatever. They obviously know the person fairly well if they're going to let their daughter go there, you would think. But I don't know. I have to imagine from anything that I read how shocked, how sad, how whatever, like, he didn't do it.
But I'm not saying he did. I was just surprised that didn't come up because it normally does as a person of interest.
Yeah. And I'm sure he was questioned. There's no doubt if they did 300 polygraph tests, I'm sure they put him through the ringer, but... All right, I got 4 theories. You ready?
Okay.
Do you have one before?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Theory 1. Stranger abduction. This is the most accepted one. Predatory targeted Evelyn, possibly someone who watched the house, knew she'd be alone, struck fast, blood, ladder, action. Right? It's possible. 50s, you're able to probably get in and get out of that town pretty quick, right? Theory 2.
Well, and everyone's at the football game.
Everyone's at the football game, exactly. Later. Theory 2. Someone she knew, right? Maybe it was someone that she knew, you know what I mean? Maybe she knew the attacker and she just opened the door. The locked doors might have been secured after the crime as he was trying to kind of get his way out of there, which would explain everything inside being disturbed. Not ransacked. Nothing stolen. Nothing. She was just... person was allowed in.
That doesn't really explain the window, though. In the ladder.
Yeah, sneaking in. That's what I was thinking, too. But it was a theory that was kicked around for a while. Maybe they did it to throw people off.
So did they go in through a window through the ladder and then out through a different window in the basement?
The main thing was they cut the screen, put the ladder in through the basement, went down in the window, down into the basement through the ladder.
So the ladder was
then
inside.
Went up. Ladder was outside, but then put the ladder inside to go then up, then back out that way.
Okay. That's what confused me.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. It does make not a lot of sense. Usually you think ladder to go up, not a ladder to go. I get you.
Okay.
Maybe the babysitting gig was a setup. Was the original girl being targeted and Evelyn filled in by accident? There's no conclusive evidence that did point to this, but like you thought earlier, it was kind of an eerie possibility.
I feel like I need more details about this girl.
The other girl, the original babysitter?
What's her crowd?
As a
I need to
15,
know.
I know. If we do a part 2, we'll dig more into
I mean,
original.
15 is when you start to make choices independently. Who knows? Maybe she was getting in with the wrong crowd.
It's possible. That's why it's Theory 3. Maybe it was supposed to be her and not, Theory 4. Some people believe that Evelyn never left Crosse, that her body was hidden in some kind of underground tank, buried beneath an old structure that maybe was later demolished. Theories abound, but the truth probably still remains buried, right? To this day, not a single bone, not a single strand of hair, not a single item of clothing had ever been recovered. Not one confirmed trace of Evelyn Hartley has ever been found.
Very strange.
It is very strange, very sad. But today, the town is different, bigger, busier, but the name Evelyn Hartley still sends chills through locals who do remember. Her photo still does appear in missing persons databases. Her story is retold in classrooms, passed down by those who lived through the panic. And her parents, they died never knowing what happened to their daughter. Imagine that. You send your daughter off to do a good deed. Watch a kid so the parents can watch a football game. She never comes home. No closure, no justice. Just silence. And maybe, just maybe, Meg, that's the scariest part of all. Not the violence, but the emptiness that follows. You got anything else, or you want to wrap this up?
Let's wrap it up. Sad.
It's terrible. I don't even... Our kids aren't babysitting. I just decided. They'll never babysit unless it's each other. If Evelyn Hartley's story does remind us of anything, Meg, it's this. That no matter how safe we feel in our homes, no matter how safe we feel in our towns, no matter how safe we feel in our routines, danger doesn't knock. It sometimes climbs through the window. And when it does, it leaves behind a trail that can stretch through generations. Every window's going to be locked tight tonight, that's for sure. But either way, thanks. Not only you, Meg, but everybody for listening to the Yore Town Podcast. We greatly appreciate it. If you ever have a recommendation, drop it in the comments. That way me and Meg can cover it next week, right? Whether it's a hometown mystery, a haunting, something creepy, doesn't matter. Reach out, because your small town might just be our next big story. Till next time, keep your windows locked and your past closer, because some ghosts, they never leave town. What do you think?
That was a good one.
It's a good one. Sad. All right, well, hopefully everybody has a good rest of your day. That's all we got. You got anything else?
No.
All right, well, let's get out of here. Want to do it again next week?
You betcha.
All right, that's all we got. Till next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.